Hi everybody, Pastor Tim here with an installment of the video bonus blog. Today we're taking a look at something from the Beyond the Sea message, in which we were looking at the story where Jesus and the disciples cross the Sea of Galilee. They leave the crowds behind, cross the sea, and come and minister to a man there who's possessed by a legion of demons on the other side of the sea. But you might remember that during the crossing of the sea they come upon a huge storm. And there's an encounter that goes on between Jesus and his disciples in which three very important questions are asked. And we want to take a look at those questions right now. The first question was this. The disciples went and they woke Jesus up. And they asked him this question. They said, Jesus, don't you care that we're about to perish? Jesus, don't you care? And the answer to that question is an emphatic yes. Listen, please don't ever confuse your circumstances and your trouble with a lack of Jesus' caring. He very much cares. But what he cares about more than anything is your character. He cares more about your character than he does about your comfort, than he does about our ease, than he does about our convenience. But in facing certain troubles and facing certain threats, a lot of times what Jesus is doing is forming our character, and he's teaching us to rely upon him. Jesus wants us to come to trust him above everything else. And sometimes the only way we can learn trust is to face trouble. Now, the second question that's asked is by Jesus. And he says to his disciples, why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? Well, the reason they were still afraid was because they didn't actually believe in Jesus. What they believed in was what they saw. And what they saw was a storm. What they saw were waves crashing over the boat. What they saw was danger, and they believed that they were in it. But here's the thing. After Jesus calms the storm, I want to suggest to you that they weren't any safer then than they were while the storm was raging. Because our safety has nothing to do with our outer circumstances. Our safety has to do with who is in us, who is with us, who is by us, and who we're with. Jesus is in us, Jesus is with us, and we're with him. The Bible says, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. So we've got Jesus with us, and with Jesus in the boat, whether the storm is raging or whether the storm is calm, our safety is not affected. We're with Jesus. That's all we need. Now, the third question is the question that the disciples ask after he calms the storm, and they're really kind of blown away by that. They actually, the Bible says they're more afraid. They were afraid when the storm was going, but after Jesus calmed the storm, they were even more afraid. And then they ask this question, who is this man? Or as the King James says it, what manner of man is this? That's a great question. That's a question that theologians have been trying to answer for 2,000 years. That's the great Christological question. What is the nature of Christ? And the answer to that question, quite simply, is this. Jesus is fully God and fully man. And we try to wrap our minds around that. How can you be all man and all God? But in Jesus, we see the fullness of humanity, everything that humanity was meant to be, fully human. The only fully human person there was, because he's the only person that lived out his humanity in full. And then at the same time, along with being fully man, he's also fully God. The fullness of the Godhead dwelt in him. So he's fully man and fully God, a total mystery. But that's who we love, and that's who we worship. Hey, I hope you've learned just a little bit of something from this bonus blog. And if you want to listen to the whole message, please check out our podcast under Jesus Stories Beyond the Sea.